Hey, Ricky.
Hey, can you hear me good?
Yeah, I can. How's it going, bro? Good morning.
Good morning. I hear, actually I don't hear it echo anymore. I did for a minute, but it's good now.
I turned it down a little bit. I got you on the nice little speaker. Let's test that again. The sound.
Okay. Test one, test two. I don't hear anything on my end.
Okay, that's pretty good. Cool. Well, bro, good morning. We actually have a business call here, in case anyone doesn't know on the YouTube here, that Ricky is my business partner. Thank God. And before we get started, Ricky, when you watch the video, this here is your motivation. You'll see what I'm talking about. To get the new poster made up for regenerationnation.com. And I'd like to. I think it'd be cool if you got Mike on that as soon as possible and put up here at the top regenerationnation.com, and then use that picture that we've got on regenerationnation.com, the one, you know, the smiley face one, and then at the bottom put join the family down here. So I'll let you and Mike talk about that, but that's my idea. And so anyways, thanks YouTube for holding on for a sec. Before we do our business call today, I wanted to talk with Ricky because, well, I'm going to do a consult with him. We did one yesterday, but then I wanted to bring it up for several different reasons. Because a lot of people are experiencing the same thing, and it's like a new... I went out on a vision quest, and Lord have mercy, I got a vision. And we're going back to the basics, pretty much. So, Ricky, why don't you tell me and everybody else what's been going on lately, man?
Hold on.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is. So, I'm kind of a right-brainer, very kind of numbers-driven, technical, all that good stuff. But over the last 5 to 7 years, I've been basically indoors a ton, meaning I actually wouldn't even leave my house sometimes for 2 or 3 days. Or in the office I would, but I would be indoors a ton. And man, I have not gotten any oxygen. I haven't been outside. Now, I go to the gym, but it's not really a substitute for like the sun and real air. And I've just seen a huge decline, and that's why I called you yesterday. I've just seen a huge decline over the last 5 years in my lungs, in my throat, in my breathing. And I'm constantly, like, I'm on the 4th week now of a terrible bronchitis. In December, I got sick, and I've been getting sick more and more over the last 5, 6 years. And that's what I called you about. And I'm so glad that you went out to the forest, you did your thing, and now I told you, I said, Dan, I want you to hold me accountable because I'm going to do this. I'm sick and tired of not getting out there and doing it, and I'm going to make this decision. And I thank God for you because you will hold me accountable. You're going to be out here in July, and I will be a different person. And I'm going to do it because of what we talked about yesterday. And if you want to let them know what we talked about, that's probably best because those foundations are so important. And I've been neglecting them, and now I'm feeling the repercussions of that.
Well, Ricky's a little more enlightened. Yesterday, he wasn't aware of some of the things that was going on with his health, and then we had a nice conversation. I called him about our business meeting today about the live chat tomorrow, which I'll just mention real quick while you're here, that we're having a live chat for Regeneration Nation members. You can always join Regeneration Nation. It's only $10. It's going to be a live chat. And of course, you can get the free information here, but I also intend on going into the 3 pillars of health as well, into more in depth, for spend 2 or 3 hours on a live chat. And I'll also be answering a lot of questions. And there's always a link down below to join the family at Regeneration Nation. But when I was out, what inspired this vision quest, and we'll get into helping, we got Ricky on the road here, but I want to get everyone else on the road using his example and then using YouTube as an accountability measure for him. Because I've been talking to quite a few people. I do a lot of consults, and I'm always doing more research. I'm always studying, always evolving, always growing. And we tend to focus on food for health. And I've noticed there's a serious lack of those other 3 pillars. And the 3 pillars are oxygen, number 1. I mean, you can go for weeks without food. You can go for days without water. But you can only go a few minutes without air. So wouldn't that put oxygen right up there at the top? People think that we live off the food, but they are wrong. We live off the air, and the food is the stimulus to this stimulator, which gets you moving, which gets you breathing. See, and it's the breath that keeps you alive. The reason why Ricky's experiencing bronchitis is because he's not getting enough fresh air. People are breathing the air. Their exhalations are loaded with their own acid, gas, waste matter. And then that saturates the room that they're in. And since the weather's cold, they close the windows down, and then they're breathing in their own carbon dioxide, and the oxygen levels in the room go lower and lower and lower. And the bigger your family and the tighter sealed that your house is, the more you're going to be breathing your own toxic air. And so you're not getting those fresh oxygen molecules which lighten up and create this nice scarlet red blood. And what you've got when you've got the lowered oxygen levels is this purple, thick, deoxygenated blood, which is the reason for strokes and heart attacks and everything else. So in this case with Ricky, I tried to encourage him. I said, bro, you have to get outside every day. That's his new health protocol, is he's going to wake up every morning and go for a walk. Because he said, every time I do that, which has been rare, he feels, then he has a great day because he starts his day off right with some oxygen. The first thing I do when I wake up every single morning is do breath work. I pop open, my brain turns on, I start breathing. I'll be doing some breathing videos for Regeneration Nation. I'll do one for YouTube too in the future here. So anyways, that's pretty much it. You went to the doctors today, Ricky?
Yeah, it's just, the chest is tightened up, and it's, a little tough for me to breathe right now. But hitting on that walking you were talking about, I can't explain it, and I'm sure if there's any other people like myself who are indoors a lot, and it's not that they can't get out, they just make a decision not to get out, which I'm changing today. But I can't explain it, Dan, and you probably can do a better job of it, but whenever I go for those 45-minute walks, when that sun is hitting my skin and I come inside, I'm literally like buzzing. What is that? I mean, how would you explain? Is it just the oxygen and the walking and the sun hitting you? Is it the combination of that just opens you up for the rest of the day? Because it's literally life-changing. I don't know why I've decided to be lazy about it, but that's changing today. But it'd be great if you could explain, what happens to our body when, it's just amazing, the transformation when you just do that little thing in the morning. So if you could hit on that, that'd be pretty good as far as the benefits and why that is.
We need to do more interviews, Ricky. You're excellent. For real, bro. And then we can, we'll talk about that when we get off.
You know what? I really need to stop because I'm so used to interviewing others. I got to start acting like the interviewee. Oh, my bad.
Well, no, but you are so good at this, that you know exactly how to do this, and that's why you're a genius. That's why I was saying we should do a couple of audio programs where you just interview me on various topics, because you are really, really, really good at it to help our viewers here, which is the main thing. So what I call that, and I lose a lot of people here, sometimes the people don't like it when I go too deep, but I call that cosmic radiation. In other words, it's a combination of the natural elements that give living organisms life. We're literally beings of energy, and we get that energy from the various elements, being the oxygen, which contains elements, hydrogen, nitrogen, etc., that go into our nose, and those are condensed into our blood. And the more fresher the air, the less we need to eat. That's why we eat so much, because the air kind of sucks with the chemtrails and all the industry and the cars, and everyone's inside, and we need to eat more to stimulate more. If we had better lungs and better respiration capacity, which most of us, many of our respiration capacity is dormant and it is clogged up, and our sinuses are put up a protective mechanism because of all the crap that we've grown up with as little babies, sealed off, and all the junk we've been breathing in the air. I call it cosmic radiation because what you've got there is the oxygen, and you've got the water, which this water right here is from a living stream, that I just got yesterday. So it's still, I pulled it out of the stream yesterday, so it's still structured with that life energy. It's got oxygen in it as well. So I'm drinking this structured water which absorbs easily and has life elements, and it's also, I saw the picture of this particular water right here, and it's a perfectly structured crystal because this water here was measured by Emoto, the Japanese doctor that freezes different various waters from around the world and then takes pictures of the crystals. This is a very beautiful structured water which allows me to become a crystalline living organism. My cells are actually structured by this living water.
Which I always do like to take it back to the practical. People can go to findaspring.com, and I found an actual famous spring an hour and a half from me. It's got a ton of YouTube videos and reviews and stuff. I'm real excited to go to this weekend with my kids, but to bring it back to the very practical, I would highly encourage everybody to go check out a spring and take a drive to it. I'm really excited about doing that, and you encouraged me to do that yesterday.
You definitely got to go get some of that healing water, bro, because that water there really is imbued with a lot of specific intentions that are actually going to be very helpful in this process. Your main issue is just congestion. You've got acid gas saturation. But the water is also going to help to move the lymphatic system and dissolve some of those accumulations, because your body is throwing up mucus to protect itself from you breathing your own waste matter by sitting in your office all day surrounded by, well, the electromagnetic radiation is a whole nother thing. Now remember, when I went on the vision quest, I was out in nature for 3 days with no technology. I was literally thought that I was the happiest guy in the world. And then I came back, and then there's YouTube with all the weirdness and all the craziness and everything else. And your mind, what's going on here is a separation between an organic structure, which has been termed in the past as the organovegetative system. In other words, the organic growth of your organism. And then you've got your cerebral spinal system, and with all the technology and the texting and the voicemail and the emails and the videos and the everything that's going on, your mind and your brain and your cerebral spinal system, your brain and nervous system, are way the heck over here, and your body, which has evolved organically on the planet for billions of years, is now over here. So there's this disconnect. And when you go back into nature like I did for 3 days and turned all the technology off, my brain and my nervous system and my organovegetative system realigned themselves. And so now the kids are coming, and I've got a lot of work to do, so I'll be busy for a couple more weeks, but then I'm headed back out for another vision quest, because the sanity that I received and the downpouring of information that I was commanded to teach, these 3 pillars, while I was out there, as well as a couple other things, but it was inspired by the consultations, and then Ricky finally nailed the final hammer into the coffin that I need to preach the oxygen, the water, and the sunlight in that order. But when you combine them all 3, then you've got the hub of the wheel. But Ricky's going to have to learn how to breathe, and he's going to have to go get fresh air. He's got a good neighborhood to go do that in, and it's not the greatest. I don't have the greatest neighborhood either. The walking is pretty minimal around here, but you've got to get out, and it doesn't matter. You've got to get that fresh air, and for me, I keep my window open at night, and I have like 4 blankets on and a comforter, so that I can breathe all night. I never close that window, and it's not that cold here in Vallejo, California, but if you live somewhere cold, just go outside and stay moving around, and then when you come in at night to go to sleep, crack your window and get a little quiet fan or something, but just try to at least crack the window so that you're not breathing carbon dioxide all night, because you're going to have lung problems and you're not going to be able to heal from your various disorders. So the pillars of health are the prerequisite. People are like, what can I eat to get healthy? And then I say, well, are you getting outside for fresh air? Are you drinking enough pure water? And are you getting sunlight in your eyeballs and on your skin? And the answer is, well, every once in a while, like once a week, I'll go out for 30 minutes. It is cold. Bundle up. You got to get out. The cold air actually is good because it has more concentrated oxygen in it. So once we start habitually start creating habits to bring the 3 pillars into our experience, then we're going to have a lot better life, and we're going to be able to avoid all these congestive issues. You must breathe fresh air if you're going to be a healthy, happy human. Okay? So
I agree with that. I think it'll make the decisions so much easier on the back end, which is food, more calmness. If you don't have those first 3 things, it's a real problem. I say that because I grew up playing golf and I lived outside. I never got sick. I never felt bad. Nothing. And then when I started locking myself, when I started our online business about 10 years ago, and I started locking myself in rooms and not leaving a lot, the health just goes completely downhill. So I think you're just exactly right. Let me ask you this question. When you were out in the forest on that second and third day, when you were removed from all the electronic devices, can you explain to everyone how you felt? What happened?
Dude, to be honest with you, I was staying in this little tiny cabin right on this river, and every night I had the window blasted wide open, and it was freezing. I took every blanket in the whole place, and it was like had like 3 beds in it, and I took all the blankets from every bed, and I just laid them over the bed, and I had like this many blankets because it was freezing up there. I was in the mountains, and I woke up just feeling ecstatic. I had 3 days of just feeling so good because of the relinquishment of the technology, and a lot of it for me is personal, which has to do with the comments and that type of thing. And if I was totally impervious, then it wouldn't bother me, because it gets so chaotic and everyone's got an opinion and everyone wants to tell you what they think about you, and everyone wants to tell you what's wrong with you, and then people want to praise you too, and you don't want any of that. You just want to do what you've been commanded to do and be of service. And that's one part of your karma yoga is the videos here. And because people aren't thinking about this in general, because you're not trained this stuff in school, it's not in the educational programs, the food's not there. We're literally automatons being pumped out by a system that's been set up a long time ago to keep us at a level of mediocrity. And what we're trying to do is get people to move more into their power, move more into their ability to create, to be a creator and a manifester of abundance and joy and peace, and bring light into the world. And our physical health is really suffering because we have separated ourselves from nature. And we need to create habits that are going to reconnect us back. It doesn't take a lot of fresh air every day, but I do a lot of, I'll go out and I'll go somewhere where the air is fresh and I'll just cough. And I'll get the soot out of my lungs that is from driving on the freeways. You see what I'm saying? Then I do some deep breathing and I keep my lungs as good as I can. I grew up in a family that had just not good health and just not that great, not too bad. So somewhere in the middle, like a medium constitution. And then, as you know, there was drugs and everything else. So I'm just fighting to get back what I can. If total regeneration is possible, then I'm going to be the one to do that. And slowly but surely, I'm getting there. And the wheels of healing turn slowly, but these pillars, the raw foods, the meditation, the yoga is particularly beneficial. I had a great yoga workout this morning while the fresh air is just blowing in on me. Even though my feet get a little cold because I do it bare feet, that's okay. I can go take a shower and warm my feet up if I wanted, but I like to feel the coldness and have my body adapt to that. It's my mind rising above the elements. But I was really, really happy out there, and I realized I need to go out more, and I want to encourage everyone else to get out into nature more and unplug as much as you can. But again, I don't want Ricky to say, you know what, I'm going to quit all this stuff, because that would suck for me, you know what I'm saying? But I want him to bring more balance into it, and I'm going to bring more balance into it. I'm not going to be a slave to this thing anymore. I'm not going to be a slave to the phone, because, you know, or any of that stuff. I'm going to live free, and I'm going to have to prioritize, because I get hundreds and hundreds of emails every day, and texts and phone calls, and it never stops. And it's just like I said about the cerebral spinal system. It's not designed to handle all this constant stimulation, and it drives people nuts. And the more that the more people live in the city, the crazier they are. And as you move out more into suburbia and then into the country, you have a lot less insanity. So I'm going to make it a priority to work my butt off with you, Ricky, and I'm going to create the conditions financially that I need to go somewhere and set a good example. In fact, we're looking at some retreat places in some tropical areas so we can do this work, because having you hands-on in a place where we've got the fresh air, we've got the pure water, we've got the tonics, we've got the body work, we've got the colonics, we're going to be able to help people. We've got to keep it on the down low, though, because they're not really wanting to see people with results. So I have to go on these videos and say, I don't care about curing disease. I'm going to leave the curing of diseases up to the doctors. What I'm going to do is I'm going to promote health. I'm going to promote these pillars, and once you get out and get moving and get outside and get the sunlight in your eyes and start drinking more and hydrating and eating the best raw foods, as well as any other lifestyle habit that you can do which will negate another one which is less than the best, then I'm going to encourage that. And all of your conditions may end up going away, implementing things like the juice fasting, the raw food diet, the water fasting can be incredibly beneficial, and all these other elements. But the main thing is the 3 pillars, because what's so great about the 3 pillars is that in general, they're free. I mean, you got to have, like, you got to get 5-gallon water jugs, and then you got to drive to the spring. But the oxygen is free, thank God. Okay, I mean, and that's the #1 thing. So what's
even the water's free at most springs. I mean, water's even free.
Yeah, it is. The Calistoga, where I go, or I go to Harbin Hot Springs, it is free. So I've already invested in my 5-gallon BPA-free plastic water jugs. I have 6 of them. That'll hold me for 2 weeks. And then every 2 weeks I get to go to the hot springs and fill up my water bottles and soak for a few hours. And so you fit it in, and then Sophie and I, we just sit there in the sun and chill out, and it's a silent place, and we just lay there in the sun naked and drink pure water and go in the sauna. And you can fit all this stuff in, and that's your way of staying sane, because the computer and everything else, especially if you're a dude like me, you put out videos, you get all these comments. I mean, when I came back from the Vision Quest, 3 days out in the wilderness by myself in silence, I was on the YouTube, and I was like, no wonder I'm so crazy. No wonder I'm, you know, my happiness level is like at about a level 6. Because when I was out in the woods, reading my scene books and worshiping the sunlight and the oxygen and the water and just drinking out of the stream and walking through these mountainous hills and not having to deal with anybody or anything, I was at like a level 9, man. I was just bubbling over with happiness. And so this is it's when you can take the example I'm setting here and do it for, whether it's for an hour or 3 days or a week. I think some Vision Quest retreats might be in the future with me and Tavis. But we're also working on getting a retreat center. We're leaving it open to the universe. We know we want to work together, because a lot of people, they just don't even have the basics down. That's what this is, Ricky.
Yeah, when you do that, Dan, we should probably bring the crew out, and we'll just go ahead and film that and throw it on DVD, so if people can't make it, they can at least see the process. Because if there's one person that is going to do it, it's you, for sure. And I have a really weird deal in my life where I just can't listen to anybody that's not successful in their field. I don't ask advice from them. I don't go, gravitate towards them. But when it comes to you, I know you preach it. I know you live it. Because I don't know if there's anyone other than your own family who's spent more time with you, who's spent more hours just chilling, filming 50 million recipes, everything we've done and been through together. I know for a fact in my heart that if anyone's ever going to take it to the next level, it's always going to be you. And I just thank you for that call yesterday. But more importantly, I think what's cool is, let me go on a little riff here. If I can give some people some perspective on your inflow of stuff you have to deal with. When we first met, I didn't actually understand it. I always was like, oh, that's simple. But actually, you do receive, because I've monitored them all, it comes through a lot of our servers and everything, you actually do receive over 100 emails a day. And actually, it takes a lot of practice, in my opinion, and I've seen it through your growth, what people don't understand is 100 emails in Dan McDonald's box is completely different than 100 quote-unquote like customer service emails or something general. Because these are people needing something from you, counting on you. They're sick. And your heart, so crisp and real, and that's what I love about you. And what I saw was basically the pain from you wanting to help all these people, but you literally couldn't, or you would actually go crazy. Because once I experienced that with you, the first time you came and lived with me for like 2 weeks, I was a little overwhelmed myself, and I'm pretty dang organized and on top of it. And I was like, man, that is actually a lot of inflow to deal with. So I saw your struggle with not being able, it was kind of like a hurt. Would you say that? Like not being able to help all these people who are emailing you, needing you. It was crazy, man, to be honest with you. I hope that gives some people some perspective on what you deal with. It's kind of crazy. And unless somebody's personally experienced it, I think if they actually lived your life for a week, they would really be blown away about how well you do keep it together, because I think it's a very challenging thing and something anybody, no matter where they're at in life, would take a while to get used to dealing with.
Well, I got to tell you, bro, I really, really appreciate that, man. And it's nice to have you say that, and then maybe some of the viewers can even relate. I try not to complain, because the blessings, there's as many blessings as there are challenges, you know. And it does suck when there's people out there that have all these issues. I mean, they just come in and come in and come in.
I know,
and
man.
that's why I try to make these videos like this one, sort of, because this one should help a lot of people to understand that it is nature that heals you. It's the fresh air, it's the sunlight, it's the water. And after you've really saturated yourself with those principles, then we can start talking about diet. But there's so many people that they're in crappy relationships, or they allow people to walk all over them, or they don't have the self-esteem. And the biggest thing I've found, and this is about 98% of the time, is that people are so programmed with death from our society that they do not know how to choose life. That's what I do. I'm very fortunate. I have a beautiful girlfriend. I have awesome kids that are coming next week. I have a business partner that loves me and cares about me, and we've got bright plans for the future. I've got thousands of viewers that really, really love me. People that, a lady wrote to me today that she could get no help anywhere else, but just through my videos, from the last 2 years, she's gotten rid of cancer, and she's promoting me all over the place, and she wants to find out if we have an affiliate program, and I don't think we do. We'll talk about that when we get off the phone, bro. But, you know, and so, you know, I'm very, very blessed, and at the same time, you know, it's pretty obvious to most of you, there is a certain type of stability within the Dan. But there's also been like a lot of abuse and low self-esteem, and there was my mom who like was gone when I was 1 year old, and that was a shocker. And then I said, well, hell with everybody. When I was 1 year old, I decided I'm going to survive. I don't need anybody else, you know. And I've been like that, and any of the women that have been in my life will tell you I'm buttering out now, mellowing out at less, and working more as a team with with Ricky, it's a team. With Sophia, it's a team. With my ex-wife, even on helping to raise these kids and do a good job there, it's a team. I'm softening out around the edges just by sheer wisdom and blessings. But this is a challenging job, so I appreciate that, Ricky. I mean, I have been commanded to teach, because I realized another thing that came to me when I was out at the Vision Quest was that if I don't do this job, even though part of me feels like I'm not worthy, I'm not stable enough, I don't have the confidence. I faked the confidence for the last 4 years, you know. I mean, I've had a lot of incredible results with the raw foods and all the things that I teach, but there's always that trauma from the childhood of, you know, the relationship that I have with my father, which I don't want to go into. I'm telling my life story in a book. But anyways, so, you know, I have to do this. If I don't do this, then who is going to? I don't see, there are some people talking about certain things, but I'm talking about it as the sunlight and the oxygen and the water needs to like be your religion. If you're interested in health, and if you're interested in improving your productivity for your family and your friends and waking up to your potential so you can be happy, because I would love to see planet Earth continue, and I would love, and the only thing that's going to do that is love. Because we have to raise our own vibration of love so that eventually these people that are evil, that are dropping poisons on us, wanting to control us, manipulate us, and destroy us with vaccines and chemtrails and pharmaceutical drugs and cutting out our organs, it's all tied in from the uppity up, way up at the top. And it really sucks, you know. And that just makes me sad, because life is so precious. And people, that was the whole tangent, is that people can't even choose life. I say to people with cancer, you know, well, let's just get straight to the point. Do you want to live? Because I don't want to waste 45 minutes of my day or an hour trying to tell somebody a diet program unless they are serious about choosing life. Because I love life, man. Yes, I have my challenges, and I'm not particularly even attached to this life, but life itself is so divine. And that's, so I might not be the best, I might not be the best example, but I don't see anybody else in our community, if you want to call it that, really expressing the importance of choosing life and how divine it is and what a gift it is. Because when it starts getting stripped away, that's when you're going to start to wake up, and it might be too late. You might not be able to get the help. So there's so many people that just can't choose life, but it's the fighters and the people that choose life that have success with the raw foods. And I know, Ricky, you've succeeded in a lot of areas of your life, and then you've come into my life, and you've really been, I mean, you're the ultimate blessing of my life, at least within the realm of financial abundance. You know, I mean, you just, when I met you, everything changed for the better, and now I have an awesome house and a nice truck, and I'm able to pay my bills, and I'm able to support my children, and it's epic. And I want to do better, because I have huge ideas, a great healing center somewhere where we can get hands-on. You know, these videos don't do justice to what we could do if you were here in front of me and I was feeding you and taking you out. In fact, Ricky, you're coming here in about 40 days or so, and I'm going to put him on the program, a 10-day program, and you're going to watch somebody transform. Because I'm going to show him that when he gets the cravings for the junk food that's got the toxins in it, which is one of the issues here, is the food addiction. I hope you don't mind me bringing it up, but you know, it's just.
I don't mind at all. But at the end of the day, I've been eating fast food since I got my driver's license, and I've eaten fast food almost every day. And we're talking 15, 16 years. And one of my biggest struggles, and I think that this will help people on this phone call, is it doesn't matter what you know, it's what you do. I know probably everything vegan you could imagine. I know everything about juicing. I mean, Dan, how long have we been working together? I read the book, I've done, but there's a big difference between knowing it and doing it, and that's a decision that I'm making this year. And I have my own thing, but my cravings are terrible, and I do very well in immersion type situations. So I just said, damn, dude, we got to do this. So I'm really excited to come out there and just dig in and soldier through these cravings and get my life back and my energy back when it comes to that. Because when you're on the fast food, which I will admit I am, and I'm changing that, and when you're not getting oxygen, man, you just go downhill. And I just want to give people hope that you can know this stuff, but just make a decision, and that's what I'm doing. And I just want to encourage anybody to just make that decision, man.
Make the decision.
And it's so hard. Like, a lot of people, Dan, do not understand. Fat people don't want to be fat. It's very difficult, but it's possible. I believe, and it's going to happen. And I can't wait to do a video with you 50 pounds from now with energy out of this world. And I'm going to start walking tomorrow, and I'm going to fly out to your house, and we're going to do this year. And I'm so excited. I'm so thankful for you and everything you do for me.
You've made the decision to live life.
Yeah, in a way better way than I'm doing, because it's real. I was telling you yesterday, I'm just too dang comfortable. I really don't. I mean, I've got great kids. I've got great balance. I love God. I love my wife. I'm just blessed. I've got a great family. But it's weird when all day, every day, you're just a little frustrated at yourself because you're not getting up and walking or getting in the sun, and that stuff wears on you. That's the last nut I've got to crack, and I am cracking it in 2013. I am so excited. And we're going to do this together.
That's what I'm talking about, bro, is that you've succeeded in so many areas of your life. You know, you are just a great father, you're a great husband, you're an epic businessman, a brilliant online marketer, keeping integrity and God first. God is first in our business, and God and integrity, and then we make our Skrilla, you know what I'm saying? And so we do what's right.
I wish everybody, it would be actually really funny, Dan, if everybody, I'm probably the only person that does know this, but it would be funny if everybody knew how much money we actually don't decide not to make. Because even I came to you, I'm like, hey, Dan, we could do this and this, and I want to, you know what, that's okay, because I know you would never say this about yourself, but I think if people only knew what you've declined, money you've given up to keep your message legit in the way that you envision it to be, and I've learned a lot from you with that. Not to say I was going to compromise principles or integrity, but I was trying to bring you sometimes, you know, there was just opportunity. And we've given up a lot of stuff to keep everything clean, where we can sleep at night. That is what we always tell each other. No matter what, we're sleeping at night and we're feeling good. And I can say this with pure realness. Everything me and you have ever produced, everything we've created, from Regeneration Nation to the DVDs, anything we've ever done has been 100% with integrity. I can say that from the bottom of my heart. And me and you both sleep very well at night. I think you would attest to that.
You lose that, you've lost everything. And so that's cool, Ricky. Well, I think the viewers are really going to appreciate your insight. Of course, it's making me look real good, which doesn't hurt, but it's true. I mean, there are unlimited offers, and I've wanted to keep it clean and real because integrity is what it is. And so I know, because the thing is people aren't stupid. But before we move on, Ricky, I wanted to mention to everybody that with those cravings, you know, when he comes, I'm going to show him the way. You know, and this isn't like, oh, let's just eat, you know, fruits and bananas and stuff, because that's good during the day. But when because what you've got here with those fast foods is you've got chemicals, and people are going to throw a fit probably, but the chemicals that are designed in a laboratory are just as addicting or more addicting than heroin, cocaine, etc. I mean, I'm talking about your cells and your body get used to it, and as well as the parasites too. But
I know you can relate. I know you can relate, Dan. I've been on the other stuff also when I was younger, and I can tell you right now that this is harder, in my opinion, than those things. So I would agree with you 100%.
They design those food chemicals in a laboratory. They've got security that would make Fort Knox look like a baby crib. Okay, they don't want their secrets out to know that what's in those foods. So when you come off, you're having the shakes, you're having the EBGBs, but there is a way, and it's the gourmet raw, dude. You gotta have your gourmet raw food recipes ready to rock and roll with some good herbs and some good spices: cumin, paprika, turmeric, ginger, cayenne. You gotta have the sea salt. You gotta have your fats. You gotta have your food ready to go, and you got to have a plan. That's why some of those recipes that I've done, even though like when I was thinking about all the gourmet stuff, I was like, well, should I do this or not? And then I was like, dude, you got to do this, because I forget that people aren't where I'm at. They're just trying to get off the death food, which shrinks your brain, turns you into a food addict of the fast food, and then breaking those things. And once you learn how to bring in at night, usually is the worst of it for people. They can go throughout the day, stay busy, but it's usually the cravings at night that get people. If you've got some of these gourmet recipes, yeah, you're going to get full up, and you can start the process of training yourself to eat and enjoy these more gourmet, wholesome foods, and start weaning yourself off of the drug foods. Now, I recommend like cold turkey, but hey man, I'd go real good for a while and then snap back-o, and I'd have like a freak out binger. For me, it was weird though. Fast food wasn't as hard because I didn't get it that much growing up, and I didn't get it that much either. And the weird thing was as a bodybuilder, I was more into like butter and pancakes, and so it wasn't, I mean, I had a real advantage, even though I was having issues with like drugs, and I was taking like steroids, and I was a bodybuilder. My whole life was a mess. At least I had the bodybuilding, which kept me on like, 6 eggs and pancakes and milk and protein powders and stuff like that. So, but so for me, my cravings came from that. So I didn't have, as I think back, I didn't have as much of that addiction. But I know that you bro, when I've talked to you before, you've got some of those issues, and I know that a lot of you do. The fast food stuff, and a lot of it's emotional. A lot of it is the separation from nature. It's the stress. It's the people in your life that suck. It's your crappy job that you really know you don't want to do, but out of fear, we're not moving ahead. And that's why I'm promoting, like, I'm just Dan McDonald. I'm a pretty average raw food educator. I'm a pretty average everything. But the one thing that I'm not average about is the adamant about cultivating qualities and having courage. And like, that's been my blessing. When I was 1 year old, my mom left, and I was like, hell no, I'm going to live this life. I don't need anybody else. I'm an independent, and I never needed nobody, And so but I see a lot of people, they're just trapped in these relationships, and they don't know how to get free. They don't love themselves enough to say, my life is precious. I got to get away from these drug friends that are just dragging me down, or this boyfriend that just puts me down and calls me fat and keeps me trapped, or this wife that's just nagging on me all the time and I don't even love her anymore. I'm not promoting divorce or anything crazy like that. Get some help if you need it, but you have to, at the same time, this is your precious life. And conditions trump willpower. So the beauty of being a human is that what you can do is control and create your conditions. Just like Ricky with a condition for him, for example, is that he's organized Mr. Insano, like he on the list. So I say, Ricky, just put the walk on your little list, and then you have to do it, because that's the way your brain works.
Do you know I've never put a walk on the list? I do my list because I got a lot of crap to do during the day, but I've never scheduled it in. So I'm excited for that. Like, let's do it. Just put it in my day, and I'll do it.
Once it's on the schedule, you don't have a choice, Mr. Left Brain, do you?
No, I do it, and that's like
analytical,
legit. So. I like it that way, and so I'm going to throw that on the list, and we're going to do it. I can't wait to dig right in, man. It's going to be crazy.
And then on the days where you don't feel like it, you do it anyways. You know what I'm saying? There's days when I wake up and I don't feel like doing yoga. Today, I had the best yoga workout because I really loved it and wanted to do it. But there's other days where I'm just like, oh, man, I'm going to do it. You know what I'm saying? Yesterday was a hard day, and I just put the DVD in and do it anyways, And it's important, and then that's how you develop a habit. You just go through it, and a lot of times you'll find, like with the exercise, especially for me, is like, I learned this from being a bodybuilder. Going to the gym. It's like, I don't feel like going to the gym today, And then I'd realize that. Then I'd be like, okay, just go to the gym and just see what happens. Just walk through the door. And a lot of times I'd get to the gym and I'd start working out, and I'd be like, oh God, I'm so glad I came. You know, a lot of times I was tired. I was overtrained and I had to go home and rest. That would be about 10% of the time. The other 90% of the time, it was just a resistance to knowing that here comes the pain, or I could do something else with this 45 minutes that I'm going to be walking, you know. But you know, you get these habits and these cycles in your life, and it really improves. For you, getting outside every day, Ricky, is going to be a boon to your health, and then getting really adamant about creating vigorous health and being an example of everything that we've worked on. You've got the conditions, like you're surrounded by life regenerator stuff all day, every day, and so it's sinking in slowly. And now this is going to be your final resistance. Remember, there's going to be resistances. Everyone's inhabited by these, you know, energies, or there's like parasites. This is a good word for it. These little critters are very intelligent. You've been feeding them. You've had emotional weaknesses, which has allowed them to thrive. You've had dietary habits that have allowed them to thrive, and now they want their thing. And when you pull out,
they want it.
They control your brain. They're a lot more intelligent. They're a living organism within your body. And again, I'm going to be Tavis is going to be showing everyone and working with me. And if I get his permission, I'll do the anti-parasite, you know, protocols and whatnot. I'm on it right now. I'm slamming the anti-parasite herbs and taking these tonics, which you know, you can't. The parasites, you weaken their ability to. You create an inhospitable environment for the parasites. This is cayenne, ginger, turmeric, lemon, and water. So about like that much lemon, and then that's just one of the tonics in the program.
Hey Dan, let me ask you this: on the items you just mentioned, in relation to the parasite M and G, I believe it is at God's Herbs. What would you say the difference in power is? Or is the natural going to be a lot more powerful than popping the herbs, or is both somebody in my condition where they're just, I mean, fasting for 15 years, somebody where I find it very difficult to make the decision because the critters, they want it. Would you recommend doing like a double dose, like doing the herbs on top of just ginger and habaneros and herbs? Like, what would be the protocol for that?
Well, I finally understood what Lou Corona was trying to tell me about the anti-parasitic, antiviral stuff, because very few people ever get free of the parasites in their life. But what you're doing is you're using those anti-parasite formulas in the form of the herbs from God's Herbs.
Yeah, I bought them yesterday. I bought the capsules instead of the alcohol.
I like the capsules better. I'm not a fan of the alcohol. I never was. But the capsules are going to help to weaken, as well as these other tonics that are just, they weaken the parasites, and then you don't feed them. They really love the meat and the animal products. They really love the grains as well. The thing is, the parasites can't survive in a well-hydrated, well-oxygenated environment that is conducting a lot of electricity. And so what we're trying to do is get that hydration and get that cellular respiration, because they like the dark, damp corners, and that's where they thrive. And if you start going on a juice fast and starving them out, they're coming out. They're starting to look. They start moving out, and they start calling out for what they want. And if you have the courage to bust through by sticking to your thing, eventually they will come out in weird places. Usually they come out the backside, but you know, and people, the doctors in the Western world, there's no such thing as parasites in Americans. Oh, what do you think just said that, doctor? The parasite's living in you. You know what I'm saying? And these are basically evil things. And you know, I wish Lou Corona was here. I wish Tavis was here. They are more experts on that stuff. They've seen a lot of that kind of thing. I've been creating an inhospitable environment with high cellular respiration for years with green juices and wheatgrass, so they don't have a stronghold on me. I'm very, if there are some in there, which I have a feeling that there's some old lingering ones in there, but I never, because I was able to, with the bodybuilding, I never got super far off track. But when I was younger, I definitely ate my fair share of crap. But there's some issues I'm working on too, as far as being a human being. That's why I'm going to the desert. That's what I'm going to do the protocols of my brothers that you have to do this, because otherwise they're going to inhabit you and they're going to control your thoughts and your eating habits for the rest of your life. And we have got to get stronger, and we've got to create that hydration. And they don't like the sunlight, they don't like the oxygen, they don't like the water, they don't like the herbs. So using the herbs and the tonics, and like I said, I'm going to be working with Tavis. I'm going to call him today, and we're going to talk about, we're going to do a seminar, just a one-day little seminar. So I don't think we'll be able to go into parasites much, but he's working on getting a camera. He's going to get the same Canon HD as me, but they didn't have any. So he's like, I need to get on. He wants to get on these videos because he really wants to help. He's a light worker as I am, and so he's gonna, and I'm just gonna go wherever he's at, and I'm gonna help show him how to make videos so that he can teach you on how to do all this stuff. And he's writing several books at the same time. But so everyone be patient. Right. But for now, do what we've always talked about: hydrate, alkalize, detoxify, regenerate, breathe more, get out more. Earthing. People are like, well, what about earthing, Dan? Earthing, yes. Earthing every day. Take off your shoes and stand on the grass for as long as you can. Go play in the grass. Walk in the grass. Barefoot hiking if you've got some nice smooth trails around your house. If not, look into getting yourself some Tevas. I got some Tevas. I'm stoked, even though I have the strangest little alien feet, one size difference. This one over here, the little toe doesn't even go in. But they're great, though, and they help you to connect to the earth. So earthing, the hydration, everything we've always talked about. And keep on developing skills, and keep on letting go, and think about the relationships, and think about your environment, and think about your conditions, because human beings can create the conditions which allow certain phenomenon to occur. And as humans, we're very intelligent. We can garnish and gather information, and then we can start the process of creating those conditions, which through observation we can see the likelihood of those conditions creating the desired results. And that's what we're doing. That's why we do fasting. That's why we do raw foods. That's why we go out in the sun. That's why we go to bed early. That's why we eliminate stress. That's why we get rid of junky people that don't care about us. That's why we choose life. That's why we saturate ourselves with spiritual books. That's why we program ourselves at night. That's why we sit and meditate quietly and observe our own mind so that we can see what's going on in there. That's why we do the yoga, to keep our back flexible, to keep our kidneys flowing, to keep our neck nice and soft, to keep the blood flow to the brain. These are the conditions which allow your best self to come through, which is the human being has to do something with their life. They might as well surround themselves with those conditions which are going to create propensities for your dreams to come true, but you have to choose life. First, number one is choosing life. Number two is the 3 pillars. And then we can look at relationships and stress and environment and food. Most of the people I talk to don't have the ability to literally tell me in a concrete way, I choose life. They fuddy-duddy around it. They're like, oh, well, yeah, my doctor says this, and I guess kind of, sort of, try a detox program. There's no like, hell yeah, I want to live. I'll do whatever I have to do. Stand on my head for 5 hours a day, drink green swamp water, get colonics with a fire hose. I'll do whatever it takes. They don't have that, want the desire to live. And that is my message. And so I may not be a technical specialist on so many other things, which I have to stop feeling bad about. I'm a generalist. It's like, hey, I'm the guy that's championing life. And I like that, and that's my job, and that's what I was commanded to do. Is when I was meditating out there on the Vision Quest, it said, you have to teach this stuff, Dan, because nobody else can do it like you. And if you don't do it, then someone else is going to have to. And there's nobody else that's going to be able to do it like you. So, and that's how you are too, your holy task. You'll never ask for another blessing. I don't need any more blessings. I don't need anything. As long as I can sit here with you on this video and help you, I am the one who is the benefactor, okay? Because I love this. I can feel the presence of the goodness of eternity within me when I speak to you. So Ricky, let's wrap this thing up in 5 minutes, dude. Are there any other questions?
No, I am very clear. Of course, you know me. I choose life all day. I am so excited. I got to wrap this last little thing up. This food and these little critters in me, man. I got to beat it out. I've got my herbs coming to me this week, and I'm just so thankful for you. You know I love you. We're going to do this thing. I'm going to beat these cravings. You know, it's just so weird. You feel those decisions after about 4 o'clock. If people on this call know what I'm talking about when they get those cravings, it is crazy. But we got to beat them. And you know what? I'll be the test bunny. I don't care. I'll do it.
Well, I'll tell you how I got rid of my cravings. For the last 2 weeks, I ate everything I wanted raw. Of course, all I did was I would drink the tonics all day. This one.
Mm-hmm.
I have 5 tonics, and actually, the last one is the one where I bring in some of the earth medicine into breaking up the acid crystals in my brain. It's working. I am feeling better and better than ever, but I can't just take Tavis's stuff and like steal it from him. I'm sure he would be okay with it, but I want him. I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? It's him, so we're waiting on him, and be patient with him, but get on this thing. But what I'm going to say is that, you know, I beat my cravings by, I've been eating a lot of fat. Here's the secret that everyone needs to know. It's out of the bag. I have literally, when Tavis was here, I would have these nice little salads with some avocado and olive oil and some turmeric and some sea salt. And I called it the Liberation Salad because I had been denying myself so long flavor and taste and just eating fruit and drinking green juice. But I wasn't really thriving. And I'm not exactly sure why. I have some ideas. But when he was here, so I would drink the tonics all day. And then I would have the nice Liberation Salad at night. He calls it just eating the medicines to buffer you from all the chemtrails and all this craziness. And I had to shore up some essential fatty acid weaknesses. And then when he left, I was like, okay, I am going to try this out, because I always use experimentation to find out for myself. Now, I've literally, over the last 7 days, tried to kill myself with fat. I've been on the tonics all day, every day, and then at night, I've been eating just as much fat as I want. Okay, and I'm not even going to tell you how much, because I don't want to hear my heart. And yesterday, my workout was better than ever, so no one can say anything. I was stronger than I've been in a long, long time. Pull-ups, push-ups, running, bicycle riding. I was doing all this stuff, and I was like, I don't even want to go home, but I had to come and make dinner for Sophia, and we had plans to watch a movie, so I could have kept working out. So something's changing in my thing. I think it's the conductivity of the hydration, but also the cravings are just gone. Like, cravings are gone. So I saturated myself with hemp seeds, hemp oil, avocado, and olive oil. Olive oil.
Dan, what would you say were your cravings?
It was just as insatiable, dude. It was just insatiable.
Okay.
It wasn't, for me, it's not.
Oh, you're just talking about general. You're talking about general cravings. You're just generally like wanting something.
Just, it was weird, man. It was just like hunger. It wasn't. I couldn't fill it with fruit and vegetables, you know, without, I was on a low-fat program. But that being said, my intuition, every couple times a week, I'd knock back, you know, 3 or 4 avocados. And I felt bad, but it was all in my head. I didn't feel bad physically.
Yeah, you were mentioning that. Can you go into that for like a minute so people can feel okay? I mean, that's one of the people's biggest things.
Well,
it would be cool